Hi, welcome to Nina in the Kitchen, where today I'm doing a dish called Braised Chicken Thighs - World Famous. This recipe comes from a friend of mine who is a chef, Jacob Burton, and we're actually cyber friends. We've actually never met, but I've been online with him for years. I'm going to link his YouTube channel and also his cooking school. He has a free online cooking school. There's a forum, he has podcasts, he even has tests that you can take if you want to test yourself. The body of work that this guy has is incredible. He's an executive chef of 2 high-end restaurants and has a catering thing that he does as well. And he mows his own lawn. I don't know how he does all of this, but pretty amazing guy. So I hope you check him out. This is a recipe that he came up with one night just for his family. This is just what he had in his home. That's the way I understand it. I'm sure I'll be corrected if I'm wrong on that. So all that it is very simply, I have 4 chicken thighs, 2 tablespoons of butter. This is 1 cup of chicken stock. Homemade is always best. If you don't have homemade, buy low sodium. 15 cloves of blanched garlic, and we'll talk about that in a little while. 4 ounces of balsamic vinegar. This is 8 ounces of cremini mushrooms, which I've sliced up. And let me just show you how to prep these thighs. Now, when you get chicken and put it into a pan and you want to make that crispy, delightful skin, the best way to go is paper towels, and you want to dry them. And I actually pick them up and I dry them on both sides. I trim off all of these little bits that you really don't need. And then to have them cook faster, what I do is, you can feel where the bone is. I just go in and do a little incision on either side of the bone. And that will help them cook just a little faster. I have my pan on a medium-high heat. It's dry. This chicken will render some fat while it's in there. In the meantime, we're going to get some nice crispy skin. Now, this cutting board, I just wanted to mention, this cutting board is a plastic board, and I save it for use of meat only. I don't use it for anything else. This will go right into the dishwasher, and then you don't have to worry about cleaning it. So while the skin is getting crispy, just going to salt this. We're starting to see some red little puddles are forming. That's your signal, that's your visual cue that this is searing. This one and this one both look to me as if they're ready to flip. And just like magic, this becomes like a non-stick pan. If it's not ready, the skin will not budge, but there we are. Now, what I'm going to do is just put this off to the side. So just to review, I've done this before, but when you have a little puddling on top of your protein, doesn't matter if it's beef, no matter what it is, if you're sauteing a protein, you'll see this puddling on top and the meat will become glistening. And that means that the bottom of this has been seared. You don't want to do this in a non-stick pan. Non-stick pans, you shouldn't get them that high. And then later on, I'm doing a pan sauce in this. This is also going into the oven. So you want a heavy bottomed skillet for this. And see how nice and brown that is? So that's your visual cue anyway. Now these chicken thighs just go off to the side. And now I'm going to add, let me just get rid of some of this oil that looks a bit excessive. So just take the oil out, leave about a tablespoon. And then I'm going to add mushrooms to the pan and the butter. And as the mushrooms exude their moisture and the butter melts, what's going to happen is you can start to deglaze this pan. In the meantime, let's get back to this garlic. The garlic is a blanched garlic, and I'm linking you to Jacob's YouTube video on how to blanch garlic. It takes just a few minutes, and the result is that you have garlic that's very sweet. There's no There's no bitterness to it. That bite is gone, and the pungency of it is gone. So all that's left behind is the sweetness. And you can get the same thing by roasting or doing a garlic confit. If you don't happen to have those things in your house, this is a quick way to do it. You simply blanch the garlic just like you would any vegetable. And what I've done, because it is so sweet, instead of cutting it across as I usually do in a transverse cut, I'm doing a long cut on this because you actually do want the sweetness of the garlic. And the way that you do that is put it on the flat side. Of course, remember your knife skills, keep your fingers down. And then the last thing that you have is going to be this long little piece, and that's it. You have nice slivers of garlic there. Then we just go back here. This smells so good, the butter that's in there. And at this point, I'm going to salt this just a little bit. You see, they're starting to brown, so that's good. Also, you want to season as you go. If you season right at the end of making a dish, all that you taste is salt. If you season as you go, you get a much better end product. And it's just those little things that will take you from being a good cook to an incredible cook that everyone wants to come to your house for dinner. But then that has its own problems, right? This is looking good. This is almost dry now. Almost dry. So now I'm going in with balsamic vinegar. And this will help me finish deglazing that pan. And you see now it's nice and clean. Now chef says you can use red wine instead of balsamic, but then that's less wine that you get to drink when you're eating this. So I'm doing balsamic. Okay, and we are there. That took about 2 minutes. And now in goes your garlic. And you just want to stir this around. Oh, it smells so good. So at this point, you just want the garlic to get in there and be introduced to the other ingredients. And then the chicken goes back in. Skin side up, please. And any juices that you have. And now your chicken stock. You want just enough stock in there so that the level of the broth is not quite touching your chicken skin. And these are all nestled nice and cozy. And this goes into a 400-degree oven for 45 minutes. And when it comes out, we'll finish it, and that's the dish. Well, these chicken thighs just came out of the oven. I have this handle that slips over hot handles. I love this thing. If you ever find it, it's just a great thing to have because I can't tell you how many times I've burned my hand. What I'm doing is returning the sauce to the heat. I'm going to remove these chicken thighs, and the oven is turned off. The skin is nice and crispy. I'm just putting these thighs back in the oven. The oven's turned off, but it's still warm. So just to keep these warm, I'll toss them back in there. This liquid is going to reduce by 3/4, and I'm going to scrape the fond off of the edges of the pan just to get every last little brown bit, and it also helps clean your pan, so whoever has that job in your kitchen will be happy. And then when this reduces down and thickens up, we're going to add 8 ounces of spinach, which I have here. Well, it looks like we are there. Let me show you how to know when this sauce is ready. It looks a little thick, and when you scrape through the pan, you see it doesn't flood right back. You can put a spoon in it, and then your fingertip tastes yummy, but this mark will stay in your spoon. Let me just taste this for seasoning. Oh, that's really good. Okay, all that's left to do is just by hands full, you just put some spinach in there. When this wilts, you do another handful, and all of this spinach will go in there, and it always amazes me that it wilts down to nothing. We just have to wait, put a little handful in, and I'll see you at the end of that. All the players are here. We have the chicken thighs, which just came out of the oven. We have our basmati rice and the vegetable. So to plate this, I'm going to just take just a measuring cup, put my plate on top of it, flip, and there's a nice little stack of your rice. You can do that with ramekin as well. Then I just want to take some of this with this lovely sauce maybe put that off to the side. And then, last but not least, a chicken thigh. And then just whatever is on the rim, I wipe off, and I do this at home as well. But there's the plate. Everything is so delicious. The sauce for this is like a sweet sour sauce, and it just plays so well with the mushrooms, the spinach. All of these flavors together are really, really incredible. And then we have this crunchy skin, which is delicious. So I hope you try this recipe. Chef Jacob, thank you so much for letting me do this. For the rest of you, go to stellaculinary.com, check it out. For me, when I found it, it was like the characters of the Wizard of Oz when they come up over the hill and they see the Emerald City below. Oh, look at all the stuff that's up here. The body of work is amazing. So I hope you try this. Thank you so much for watching. Please follow me here on YouTube by subscribing. Thanks, guys. Bye.